Hello, welcome back to the James Rambling Reviews for yet another episode, and in today's episode I'm actually going to be reviewing Alien Resurrection and the Alien vs Predator movies. So originally, before we get into this review and how I felt about Alien Resurrection, Alien vs Predator and Alien Requiem, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll review Alien Resurrection, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. But I'm like, you know what, the Alien vs Predator movies came out after Alien Resurrection. So before we get into how I feel about these movies, I will give you just a bit of context into the fact that this is probably my first time ever watching Alien Resurrection, and I seen the Alien vs Predator movies a couple years back, and to say the least, I don't remember so much about them, and this will be a very spoiler heavy video. So if you haven't watched any of these movies, you better turn this video off right now, because I'm going to get into what Alien Resurrection is about, what Alien vs Predator is about, and the sequel is about as well. So just so you understand, Alien 4, Alien Resurrection, is a follow-up to Alien 3, but it's also trying to be a follow-up to the prior two Alien movies, Alien and Aliens, in which we have a clone. The best way I can describe it is we have a clone of Ripley on this ship, and you get to see that, and there's other people on this ship, and you've got a lot of famous actors in this movie. You're talking about, you've got Sigourney Weaver, obviously, you've got Winona Ryder from Stranger Things, you've got the actor Tuco, the dude who plays Tuco in Breaking Bad, is in this movie, you've got Ron Perlman, you've got all of these famous actors. And so going into this movie, obviously having rewatched Alien, Aliens and Alien 3, I was like, oh, can this franchise get any better? Can it just be dreg? Can it just be slop? And let's just be honest right now that I watched Alien Resurrection last night, and boy, did the franchise just get worse from here. And so I will be dissecting why I think Alien Resurrection might just be the worst franchise, the worst movie in this franchise since Alien 3. Like, they're probably on the same level of quality, like just absolutely bad. And the reason why that is because, right, I don't know if I remember mentioning it in the previous review, but literally, like, Ripley is supposed to die at the end of Alien 3, and my mind was just gone at that point. I was like, I don't even need to explain how bad this movie was, Alien 3, but she pretty much supposed to die with the alien, and you see this thing where she falls into fire or whatever kind of cringe effects it was. And then in this movie, you see how she's like this clone, and you see her in this like thing, this machine where her body has been cloned. And what's so flippin' bad about this movie is how this movie is so cheesy, and it's watchable, right? But literally there are scenes where they are just falling in love with like Ripley's clone. It's like she's so beautiful, and obviously Sigourney Weaver is, to say the least, she isn't an ugly actress, but just the way the movie portrayed it, I was like, oh, she's so pretty, so beautiful, baby, and it was just so cringe-worthy, and it was just so weird. And then once you get past that, there is a actual insane amount of plot holes, and obviously old bad films were completely different, I understand that, but that doesn't change the fact that when old movies were bad, they were super duper bad. And the reason why I say this is because you've got Ron Perlman in this movie. Famously, he played Hellboy, one of his most iconic roles ever. Then he plays this really strange guy where he's shouting a lot and he's acting crazy, and it's like, okay, alright. Then you've got these points where you've got Winona Ryder, and there's just a lot of these characters, and she gets shot in the chest, right? Then she falls down this bit of the ship. She comes back later, conveniently and obviously she comes back later. There's even a point in this movie where, I kid you not, the final act is probably some of the worst pieces of Alien, like the Alien franchise ever, because you have this point where it's trying to squeeze everything it can out of this final act, and you get this really weird alien design, and it almost emulates the features of a human. It's like, oh, is this Ripley's alien form? And there's also another scene, right? There's another scene where Ripley just plays basketball, and she nails this, and she's such a good basketball player, and I'm just like, what is going on? Did Sigourney, I have this conspiracy that Sigourney Weaver just realised there was a fat paycheck for this movie, and was like, you know what, I am actually going to get into this movie and get all of the money out of that, because oh my god, there are a lot of points where she just phones it in, and just like Alien 3, she doesn't even feel like the main character, because obviously the cloning idea, it's there, but then you have all these other actors. There's a lot of dumb scenes. There's even another scene where one of these characters, one of these black guys right here, he pulls out these two guns from his, he's like this, and it's like we're watching some weird sci-fi cheesy thing going on, and there's points like that I just didn't really enjoy. The best thing that I can say about Alien Resurrection though is the fact that it's funny and it's watchable, but out of 10 I would give this a 4 or 5 out of 10. The quality after Aliens, right, even I just thought Aliens was okay upon a rewatch, and it was good, but not as good as the original. But even I think that when you compare Aliens to Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, I think Aliens is probably the best out of these three movies. And so this has been a long rant. So Alien vs Predator, let's get straight into these movies, because I have some interesting opinions on these, because I actually feel like this whole review, this is going to feel like a mixed bag. Because if you didn't know what Alien vs Predator is, it pretty much is pretty straightforward, right? You've got the alien character versus Predator, and I love the original Predator. I've seen it about 4 or 5, 6 times. Really love that. Couldn't get into the rest of the franchise. It just wasn't for me. Just something about the original was so special. So it was kind of you've got the crossover between Alien and Predator. It seems like a gimmick. And there is a really silly human storyline in both movies. So you get that, but what I actually enjoyed about Alien vs Predator more than Alien Resurrection was the fact that it was trying to kinda invest itself in the universe of Alien and Predator. For example, there's this one point where the group of humans, they go to this temple, and there's these architectural things and these relic kind of looking things and scriptures of Alien and Predator, and that was cool. And there was actually some really fun moments between Alien and Predator, and the movie is very well paced. It flies by. It's meant to be an hour and 30 minutes, blah 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 blah, but it's actually an hour long, maybe 40 minutes long, it feels like. And so out of 10, I would give Alien vs Predator a 6 out of 10. And so if you want to compare it to the rest of the franchise, it's more a 5 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. But it's definitely a 6 out of 10 when you compare it to Alien and Alien 3 and Alien 3 and Alien 4. When you compare it to those movies, right, Alien vs Predator just feels like peak cinema, and so that's not really saying a lot, but I really enjoyed it. So that when you get to Alien vs Predator Requiem, this is probably one of the weirdest films, because there is actually a lot of crazy scenes in this movie, and the reason why I say that is because there's literally a point where a pregnant woman dies from the alien. You've got a kid that dies in this movie. The movie is definitely dated, and it's kind of this thing where they got away with all these edgy, crazy things, and so you get that. And then you get these scenes where I actually am not joking right now. it's shot in the dark. It's shot in the dark and you can't see anything. So for like a while the movie tries to get you interested in the human storyline, but it turns out they're all douchebags and silly idiots, and you're just like, oh, can you just die? Can you just die? Just get the alien, the predator, to kill them, right? And so that's what it felt like. And just another thing about this movie was how, because it was shot in the dark, it was hard to see what was going on. So out of 10, I would give Alien vs Predator Requiem probably like a 5 out of 10 compared to Alien vs Predator, because I feel like at this point we've milked this concept so much that it's like, okay, you've done this before, now you're just doing it in a crazier, darker sense where you've got the edgy sort of pregnant woman getting like humiliated and destroyed by an alien, and then you've got the kid dying, and it's just like, yeah, I would actually still say that Alien vs Predator Requiem is still, I don't think you can call it better than Alien 3 and Alien 4, but it's definitely getting to that point where there is still a little bit more fun I get out of certain scenes, but as a whole it's not the greatest compared to Alien vs Predator. And obviously these are spin-off movies, but I think, as I mentioned earlier in this review, Alien vs Predator and Alien vs Predator Requiem came out around the same time as like a few years later after Alien Resurrection. So that's my review. Hope you enjoyed this and stay tuned for more like it. That is my review on these 3 movies. I plan to do Prometheus and Alien Covenant in one video, and then we'll do Romulus. So yeah, bye.